The Kevin Durant saga has dragged on for a couple of months now, but it seems like it is all over, as it is confirmed by the Brooklyn Nets that Kevin Durant will be staying with the team in hopes of winning a championship in Brooklyn. So in today's video, we're going to discuss how this affects the Toronto Raptors, who were interested in making a trade for the player, and its implications on this already competitive Eastern Conference. Let's get into it. What's going on, NBA and Raptors fans? It's Jacob here, back with Amateur Sports for another Toronto Raptors YouTube video. On this channel, I bring you the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news, and I'm doing it in videos and content just like this 3 or 4 times a week. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and you can also help us on the road to 12,000 subscribers. And if you find yourself enjoying this video along the way, be sure to drop a like to get that extra load of support to the channel. Help spread the word of the brand and of this video. But we are talking about Kevin Durant and the update we got from Shams Charania today, I think, as well as Woj. But the reports directly from the Brooklyn Nets Twitter account is that Kevin Durant is going to be staying there. He had a meeting with all the front office personnel, including owner Joe Tsai, GM Sean Marks, and coach Steve Nash, in what must have been one of the most awkward meetings of all time, especially after Kevin Durant a couple of weeks ago essentially said, either you're firing Marks and Nash or you're trading me. Well, it looks like neither of those things are going to happen. They seem to have worked everything out, and Kevin Durant is going to be back with the Brooklyn Nets. And now a lot of teams out there were interested in making that trade, and it's just not going to happen for any of them. And one of those teams who probably had a little bit of an interest is the Toronto Raptors. And the Brooklyn Nets and Raptors were in direct discussions regarding the player and making some sort of trade happen, but everything always stopped at Scottie Barnes. The Brooklyn Nets wanted to get Scottie Barnes. They were never going to get Scottie Barnes, but they continued to push for the player. The Raptors were never going to trade him. Scottie Barnes himself basically said he is not going to be traded for Kevin Durant, and that is ultimately what happened here. The Celtics seemingly made Jaylen Brown available. You had other teams like the Phoenix Suns, who made great Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson available. The Miami Heat probably made Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson available. That's pretty much all we really know with this situation, but the Kevin Durant saga is over. He's going to be staying with the Brooklyn Nets, and contrary to really my belief, a couple of weeks ago I said this is kind of like unrepairable here. Like, Kevin Durant vocally gave an ultimatum. Like, it's either them or it's me, but it seems like they are going to try their best at least to work it out. And I will maintain, even at this point, that it would have been within the best interest of the Brooklyn Nets to get a trade done for Kevin Durant, because I just can't see this relationship being amended just like that, and them all figuring it out, and them just going out there on the court and having Kevin Durant play for Steve Nash after the things he said about him, play for Sean Marks after the thing he said about him, and playing under Joe Tsai after the remarks Joe Tsai had for Kevin Durant in this subtweet, unprecedented owner subtweet on a player on Twitter. But I guess we're going to kind of see how all of that works out. I don't think it's going to go great. I think it might all blow up in flames, but we're just going to have to watch from the other side, because the Raptors, obviously at this point, will not be trading for Kevin Durant. I think it was very apparent in the last few weeks that that just wasn't going to happen. Brooklyn were hell-bent on getting this ridiculous return that they were never going to get, asking for way too much, and every team was just kind of like, well, like, we're not going to be doing that. We're not going to be trading all these assets for a player who is 34 years old, has caused a lot of problems to the last 2 teams he's been a part of, has had injury troubles over the last few years, and has 4 years, $200 million, I believe, somewhere around there, remaining on his contract. Teams just were not going to give the world for that, especially after he pretty much requested a trade away. So Brooklyn had no choice but to try and figure all of that out. But from the get-go, I mean, I was somebody who was definitely interested in Kevin Durant. I think by the end of the saga this week, I was in the minority of Raptors fans who still wanted to get this trade done, but I was always in the mindset, you keep Scottie Barnes, you keep Siakam, and if maybe you can keep Fred VanVleet, like, if you can keep Siakam and Barnes and get Kevin Durant, you go and do that. You go and do that. You go and make that happen, but it just seemed like that wasn't possible at any point. So respectfully, the Raptors said, we're not going to be making this trade, and we're going to stick to our core. And that is a good decision from the Raptors. There is no need to panic here and go all out and to make that trade happen. So we are just going to stay put and run it back with the core, and that is not a problem. I always said I'm fine, if we go and make that trade for Kevin Durant under the parameters that I just previously specified. I'm also more than fine to run it back with this current core. This core in question is super young and super talented. Nobody above 30 years old in it. Siakam just kind of getting in the middle of his prime. Fred VanVleet just kind of getting in the middle of his prime. OG Anunoby starting to get up to that prime point where we hope there's another jump in there before he gets to his prime. Gary Trent Jr., a super young and ascending player. Scottie Barnes, a potential perennial all-star, a potential future superstar that Brooklyn wanted on their team so bad. Like, all 5 of these guys on the team, a decent bench with Achua, another very young and ascending player, filled out with a good bench around it. Like, there was no need to really truly disrupt that. Obviously, when a player of Kevin Durant's caliber is available, I'm going to be interested, especially when the Raptors have a distinct possibility of making that happen, making that trade happen. But I am more than content with this core. This core that is young and ascending won 48 games last season. And that was a season where we were treating it like a transition year, where Masai Ujiri himself was quoted to say there's going to be some growing pains with this team. Maybe there were a few at the start of the season, especially that opening day game against the Washington Wizards. But other than that, there were a ton of great days, a lot more great days than bad days, I tell you. And the Raptors had a competitive playoff series with the 76ers. I know they went down 3-0, but they still ended up winning 2 games in that series. We are looking to build off of that into the future. And we're going to stay patient with this core because we have Scottie Barnes, the player that Brooklyn wanted, the player that we were unwilling to give up for Kevin freaking Durant. And that guy we're expecting to be a perennial all-star, be one of the best players in the league for like 10 to 12 years, be one of the best, a superstar in this league. And he's already on his way to that superstar in the way the NBA is treating him, the way NBA media is treating him, and just the talent, the on-court product. And I gotta say, off-season footage can be misleading, and I understand that at times. But from what I have seen from Scottie Barnes this summer at the Rico Hines runs, at Pro-Am events, and again, I understand it's just off-season footage, he does look spectacular, and I'm so excited to see if that can translate to an on-court product at an NBA level. I was never, ever even going to consider trading him for Kevin Durant, but how it affects the Raptors overall is that, we're fine. I think that it was always a tad bit far-fetched that we were going to get Kevin Durant. I maintain that we were in the best position to make that deal happen, but ultimately no team made that deal happen. It was still obviously going to be far-fetched. It was obviously more likely that he was going to stay with the Brooklyn Nets. My opinion on that kind of changed when there was that spat from Joe Tsai on Twitter and the meeting he had with Kevin Durant. And at that point, I thought Brooklyn are going to trade him at this point. I think it's more likely they trade him, but nothing ended up happening. I think they really messed up not taking Jaylen Brown from the Celtics if that was a player that was on the table here. But the Raptors have played this one as best as they could. It just didn't materialize, and we are going to be more than okay with this crop of players. I had the Raptors as the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference this season. I think they are going to win in the high 40s again. I think they might sneak into a 50-win season. That is a distinct possibility. I would have them around 48, 49 wins again this season here, but things are going to be a little bit different here with the Brooklyn Nets being involved this summer because Kevin Durant is back. Kyrie Irving is back. Ben Simmons, in theory, is going to play basketball this season. There's still Royce O'Neal, who was a great pickup, an underlooked pickup in the offseason. Nick Claxton is developing. You've still got Seth Curry, Joe Harris. This is a very good team all of a sudden. And, that's going to be mixed in with the Celtics and the Bucks at the top of the Eastern Conference. That's 3 teams. You've still got the 76ers lurking around who made their team better in the offseason. And as well as the Miami Heat, who got worse, but that was the 1 seed last year. This was already a competitive Eastern Conference, and it just got a lot more competitive. So the Raptors, who have aspirations of having a good seed and winning a playoff series this year, I think the goal this season is to win a playoff series. I'd be more than happy to come out of round 1 this season. I think that's completely fair, a fair assessment of the season ahead for the Raptors. It's about getting better, and let's go win a playoff series. Especially, we got to make the playoffs this year. There's no question about that. It'd be a failure not to do that. But with Brooklyn being involved now, that task just got a lot more difficult, but this team, I believe, can be up for the task. I think that we can leapfrog Miami. I think that we are capable of leapfrogging Philadelphia. And if the dysfunction continues in Brooklyn, Kyrie doesn't want to play, Kevin Durant gets injured, Ben Simmons doesn't want to play, or when he comes back, he's scared to make a routine layup again. All of these things could happen. Things could blow up with Steve Nash. Things could blow up with Sean Marks. A lot of things can go wrong for Brooklyn. A lot of things can go wrong before they go right. But that team is no doubtedly talented enough to win the championship. Do they have the mental to get it done? The psychological aspect of it. Do they have the coaching to get it done? That's the big thing for myself. But as far as this effect on the Raptors, we are always going to be fine. We were always going to be fine no matter what the outcome of this Kevin Durant situation was. Let's run it back with the core. Let's get Scottie on the ball more. Let's develop this team, this young ascending team, and get to the next level this season, with or without that superstar. Because we might just have the next NBA superstar already on our roster. Time is on our side. Super excited for the season. This news about Kevin Durant does not change anything. So what do you guys make of the news that Kevin Durant will be staying with the Brooklyn Nets for the next season at least, and possibly for the foreseeable future? Does it have a big effect on the Raptors, and does it have a big effect on the Eastern Conference? What do you think is going to be the outcome? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please, if you really did enjoy, drop a like to give that extra bit of support to the channel, because when you drop a like, it lets YouTube know to recommend this video to more people who have similar interests to you, and by liking it, it's recommended to more people. Help spread the word of the brand, help spread the word of this video. It only takes you a second to like, but it does help me out a ton. And also, if you want to see the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news 3 to 4 times a week in videos and content just like this, then you need to be subscribed to Amateur Sports, and you can help me on my road to 12,000 subscribers. The link's in the description. You need to check out the Discord to continue the conversation outside of YouTube, and also the Twitch streams, the Twitch link to watch the streams every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Play some video games, but mostly chat basketball and discuss more NBA-related topics, especially concerning the Toronto Raptors. We'll see you again next time for another video.